as I said, we have Hunter Schuler from the Logical Nonsense podcast. What's up, buddy? How you feeling today?
We're good, man. Denver just got a huge win. I'm happy. I'm excited to be here. 4-game winning streaks. First time since 2016. I had to get on here.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. At the expense, you guys beat my Bills, and then beat the Chiefs. Little fluky, everybody said. Came in, beat the Bills. Broncos country. Let's ride. Hold up. And now you're feeling good. Little 3-game winning streak, I believe. And so as a Broncos fan, let's start with the good, the bad, and the fugly. I'll start with you. It's got to be your Broncos, no?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, they were my good this week. Like I said, 4 straight. First time since 2016. That is 7 years for you who do not know how to do math.
Me.
I've never seen a defense have such a big turnaround. I mean, we went from letting somebody score 70 points to now causing turnovers, causing havoc. I mean, this defense looks night and day from what we saw them against the Dolphins. So I think it's huge. I'm excited. As a Broncos fan, though, this is great, but I'm hesitant to be hopeful. Will Lutz still had to make 5 field goals for us to win that game. We only scored 1 touchdown. So there's still some improvements we can do, but that is my good this week for sure.
Hey, shout out to Russell Wilson, man. The rumors of his demise have been greatly exaggerated. This is not hyperbole. I'm dead serious when I say this. He looks like he's a top 10 quarterback again. Like some of the throws he's making to the back of the end zone while scrambling is vintage Russ Wilson. So again, Bert, shame on us, right? Like we have a rule here: 3 years. New system. He's been with look, I already forgot Seattle for his whole career. Sean Payton hasn't coached in a while, so he's got some rust to knock off, some ring rust to knock off. So to see it finally come together, this is kind of what we were looking for when it came to the Broncos, right? For years, right? Hunter, you can speak to it. Hey, we're a quarterback away. We're a quarterback away. Yep. And then, you give Russ all this money and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money, but he's Russ. And then the first season, we see what happened. And now it's like, oh shit. Like we're in a Cleveland Browns situation. Uh-oh. Hey, what the fuck is going on around here?
The years of former Cleveland Browns situation. Yeah,
basically. So the Tim Couch era. Shout out to Tim Couch. I had his jersey. I probably shouldn't admit that out loud, but I did. I Couch. Bert, what was your good?
I'm keeping the trend alive. My good actually was the Broncos, partly because they're making me eat my words from 3 or 4 weeks ago when I still dogged on them and Russell Wilson. Now it seems that Russell's got his groove back. As Hunter just mentioned, their defense is locking it up. You figure you start the season losing a close game to Washington, then just getting the break speed off of you by the Dolphins, who we know now are a legit team, despite what Jerm says. And you go on the week after that, beating the Bears, and then you revert to the Broncos of old, dare I say, where you make Zach Wilson look like an NFL quarterback, but only to come back, honestly, after you lose to the Chiefs, winning 4 straight, beating them again, and, of course, picking up the W this past weekend. It just seems like they're getting better and better, bringing it back to a 500. What else could you ask for to put in the good category this week?
Yeah, and just what you said, every Broncos again looked fluky at the beginning, but then now they're back. My good is going to the Detroit Lions, scoring 17 points. Our beloved Detroit Lions in the final 3 minutes of their game, and they're like 16-4 in their last 20 games, right? Like going back to last season. Yeah. Me and Bert have been singing Dan Campbell's praises the moment he's been hired. It's been a long time coming for Detroit fans, and I think well deserved. They did what I wanted them to do, right? Like they all laughed at me, Bert. Check the Instagram. I mentioned that Las Vegas might entertain tanking, trading your good players away. Yeah. Maybe hiring Dion while you tell your fans to tank. Maybe a little tongue in cheek, but oh my God, scorched. But I love it. Your tear, you Raiders fans out there, your tears are like PEDs to me. Keep it coming. All right. I'm sorry that you're too stupid to recognize the truth. Every time, every little hate, you don't know sports, you don't know football. You know what I did when I read those comments? Every time. Fuck y'all. Now, and it's funny because the blueprint is right there for you, right? It's the Detroit Lions. When they hired Dan Campbell, Ziggy Ansah, get out of here. Ndamukong Suh, get out of here. Trade Matt Stafford. We'll take the leftovers for Jared Goff. And when it comes to Jared Goff, oh man, how cool and calm and collected he's been. Gone are the days of Sean McVay micromanaging every little pass that he did, making him overthink, flustering him in a complicated offense. And now, and for Detroit, who we've already seen them dominate, right? They've put up big numbers. Number 1 scoring offense in the league last year, one of the highest scoring offenses in the league this year. But what we really haven't seen them do is like a gritty, tough, like hand in the dirt type win, like come from behind, have to like kind of gut it out type of win. And that's good for a team who has playoff aspirations. So shout out to them. They're the best start they've had since 1962. They're 8-2. Again, shout out to Detroit. Shout out to Dan Campbell. They got something going. Jameson Williams, I know he's been suspended for gambling and other nonsense, but it looks like he's finally starting to kind of contribute a little bit. And Aiden Hutchinson, again, understated the impact that he has on that defense. So my good is definitely the Detroit Lions. Hunter, what about your bad?
My bad is going to go to the Seattle Seahawks. The reason being, you just got swept by the Rams. Yes, are the Rams a frisky team? Absolutely. I think a lot of people underrate them. Matt Stafford, as long as he has a football in his hand, is going to continue to sling the ball. He has one of the best arms, in the league still. So him being back was big, but the Seahawks, there was a lot of hype, after they got some big wins about them being a serious playoff contender, possibly going far in the playoffs. And now, they lose to the Rams. They barely beat the Commanders last week, and they got blown out by the Ravens. I'm not so impressed. This is a terrible 3-game stretch for them. And so this is why it's bad for me. The reason it's not ugly is because division rivals are a thing, and they do happen. So that's why it's not ugly for me. I still think there's hope for the Seahawks, but that's going to be my bad team this week.
Bert?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was originally going to say Pittsburgh's offensive play calling, but that seems to be taken care of as of this morning. So why take the easy route? So I'll take another easy route. And granted, even though 2 of these teams happen to be on a bye this week, looking at the NFL standings as we enter in, dare I say, the latter part of the season, I have to give my bad continuously to the NFC South. One of the easiest, worstest, divisions in football. And I want to root for it. I want to root for the resurgence of Baker Mayfield and the entire Bucs organization. And I want to root for the Panthers, having some of them on my fantasy team, which shocking loss this week. But no, that their continuous losses just make it just be completely unwatchable football, to say the least. So my bad this week, with 50% of them off, goes to that entire division.
Yeah, the NFC South is hot garbage. The Bryce Young is trash. Sorry, Panthers fans. I know I live in North Carolina, but it is what it is. My bad is the Steelers. I'm taking the easy way out.
There we go.
Gentlemen, the Steelers haven't cracked 400 yards this season. Not once. Not once. Through 11 weeks, they rank at the bottom of literally every offensive category. Now, it's not the Bills. The Bills situation, when they fired their OC, at least this offense should be a lot better because of Josh Allen, because of Diggs, because of James Cook, like the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid. I know Dawson Knox is hurt, but he'll be back. But the offense was already potent before. Can you give me a good Steelers offensive game ever in the Kenny Pickett era? Has there been one that you were like, yeah, Kenny Pickett is that guy? That, we're sitting there talking about Bryce Young creeping into bust territory. It might be time to have that conversation about Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, you got Deontay Johnson taking the Steelers out of his, and now players are openly complaining, right? Literally just saying, yo, this sucks. Like the coaches suck. Like, what's happening? Kenny Pickett, not good. I don't know what we're doing out here. And the only reason they're not ugly is because they're somehow, through the grace of God, 6-4.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're still in the thick of it. Yep. The only reason it's not ugly is because that defense and TJ Watt and the boys are holding down the fort, and they have a winning record. But if it wasn't for that, I mean, their offense is just bad. It's it's really, you have Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. You have weapons all over the place. You want to talk about a quarterback away? I got to imagine Justin Herbert or, a Dak Prescott. I'm not even trying to give you the superstars yet. I'm not even giving you the Josh Allens in them. Well, I'm trying to think of just average quarter. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. I mean, imagine those guys, competent quarterbacks with that team. We could be talking about one of the best teams in the NFL, and they just don't got it. Hunter, what's your ugly?
My ugly is going to be the Chargers. Speaking of Justin Herbert, my bad. Chargers, I mean, how many 3 or less losses do you need before you understand that Brandon Staley should not be your coach? I mean, I looked it up because I was like, this is awful. How many games have they just blown clutch time? 5 of their 6 losses have been by 3 or less. 5 of their 6.
Coaching.
It's not just been this year. It was last year and the year before that. It's consistently bad decisions. The Chargers, you're ugly right now. And you can't tell me you don't have weapons because you got Austin Eckler. You have Keenan Allen. On the defensive side of the ball, you've got Derwin James. You have Khalil Mack. Yes, guys like Joey Bosa and, Josh Palmer and Mike Williams have gone down. You still have weapons. Your team is still good. You should be winning these games. Yet there is one common denominator, and it's Brandon Staley. And until he's gone, this team will continue to be ugly.
I had it on the poll, is Justin Herbert the most beautiful loser you've ever seen? And I do believe it was like overwhelming, like 70 or 80% of the audience said yes. Bert, we have a joke on the show about the Chargers too. Hey, on their tombstone, down by 3, length of the field to go, no timeouts. That is, the Phillip Rivers virus infects. It doesn't matter if they're in San Diego, and it doesn't matter if they're in LA. That's the Chargers' fate. It don't matter who's back there. Bert, who's your ugly?
Yeah, look, Hunter and I are on the same page today, to be completely honest with you, because mine wasn't the Chargers, but rather Brandon specifically. And I think what warranted the ugly was his crybaby press conference that he went off and acted like a little bitch about for a fair question. Now, granted, it's something he's been asked week over week, but when you give up 58 points in a 2-week streak, that's something to certainly look at, particularly when you come from a defensive coordinating background and you're the one that's calling the plays. So I think it's fair. And he just has a very, very frail ego and acted like an absolute bitch, to say the least. And I got to thinking, what's uglier than a man that looks like he didn't even shouldn't be coaching football? Brandon Staley is the type of guy that looks like he should be running a Wednesday night couples bowling league. Although he doesn't have a significant other to play with, he gets weighted to pair up with the other outlier who also is coming in single. So that's an offensive analogy for casual bowlers out there. But Brandon Staley, what are you thinking? If you want to be a head coach in the NFL, man up, take the responsibility, especially if you're the one making the play calls, make the adjustments, admit what's wrong, go forward. Now, some of you will see that press conference as him being a leader and protecting his team. But to be honest with you, I saw that as nothing but an absolute fragile ego. And he took offense to the question when it was certainly an argument made to be had. So the ugly is Brandon Staley, and we can group in the entire Chargers organization for that one, for picking him to lead that team.
So, the Chargers are a mess. He's not going to make it past this season, so it is what it is.
Not if they don't make some corrections, man. That's for sure.
My ugly is going to the Tennessee Titans for getting their ass kicked. Hey, guys, you remember way back in week 8 when Will Levis had 4 touchdowns and set an NFL rook record and against the Falcons, and it was like, oh shit, Ryan Tannehill never will be seen again in the streets of Tennessee. And ever since then, it's just been all downhill. And I'm not going to put it all on Will Levis. Derrick Henry, these guys, he's not getting any help from his offensive line. He's not getting any help from his running backs. His receivers are dropping passes. I'm not saying Will Levis looks like the greatest, but we've seen his potential. You see what it could be, but nobody else is playing. The defense isn't playing as good as they did at the beginning of the year. And now basically with this recent loss to the Jags, their playoffs hopes are probably over. Their season's probably over now, when it was looking very promising. At least, it was attainable to reach at least a wild card, if not the division, because the Jags haven't been playing that well. But now it seems all but over. And it's just ugly to see how you got all this hope and Will Levis. And then, he's looked a little bit average on top of the teams not performing well. So, and then just getting your ass kicked in a division game like that is never a good look. Ask the Jets against my Bills. Yeah, I could have took the easy way out, Bert. You know what I mean? I could have said, I could have went with Josh Allen. He's back, got a fresh Sharpie on the fade. Yep. He said enough of this long hair, Josh. That's why we're winning. It's not because we fired Ken Dorsey, the fucking dorky janitor.
It's that fresh cut. That's all it is.
It's the fresh haircut, bud. And we got Gabe Davis the fuck up out of here. Tall for nothing, can't catch shit. He didn't get no targets the last 2 weeks. Sending him a message. James Cook finally running the ball. I mean, It's funny because we didn't do anything that's not outlandish, right? We did shit that normal good teams do. Hey, we ran the ball and we passed the ball in about an equal value, right? I think we ran the ball 38 times and passed it 32 times. And Josh Allen had about 4 or 5 design run calls in this last game against the Jets. Guess how many he's had all of up until now? 3. So he had more design run calls in one game than he had all season. So thank you, Joe Brady. Thank you for unleashing Josh Allen and stop trying to turn him into something that he's not. So I technically had 2 goods there. So I just wanted to kind of just shout
Josh Allen just needs to clean up that interception bullshit he goes through week over week.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he
doesn't. No, he doesn't. Hey, do you think Dan Marino's a good quarterback, Bert? Is Dan Marino good?
Oh, he's a good quarterback, yeah.
Up until now, career games. Do you know who averages more interceptions per game than Josh Allen? That's right, Dan Marino. Yeah. All right, nobody says that shit about him, and everybody keeps bringing up his interceptions. Oh my god, he leads the league in interceptions. You know what else he leads the league in, Bert? Fucking touchdowns.
Touchdowns, yeah.
Touchdowns.
Yeah.
And not just total touchdowns, because he hasn't really been running touchdowns that much this year. He leads the league in straight up passing touchdowns. Yeah. We're not even talking about the touchdowns he's running in. But everybody wants to, Nick Wright and his big goofy fucking nose wants to talk about how many times he turns the ball over. Josh Allen turns the ball over.
You know why? Because some of us put all of our fantasy stock in getting Josh Allen, and I'm tired of losing points over it. Plain and simple.
For as much interceptions as everybody talks about with Josh Allen, do you know how many years he's led the last couple of years? He's led the league in interceptions. None of them. Every year,
usually reserved for Dak Prescott. Yeah,
it's Dak Prescott or it's Ryan Tannehill. It's Kirk Cousins. Every year, all you hear is this narrative about him not throwing interceptions. Last year, they were like, "Oh my God, the Bills lost because Josh Allen threw so many interceptions." Patrick Mahomes had 2 less interceptions than Josh Allen did last year.
But did he lose games over it?
I listened. That's not just on Josh Allen. I can't help that. Josh Allen today, right now, even last week before this beautiful, beautiful Jets win, Josh Allen was top 5 in completion percentage, top 5 in touchdowns, top 5 in QBR. He's top 5 in literally every quarterback stat. Yes, also he's top 5 in interceptions.
Yeah,
but
you did say every stat. To be fair,
it's every stat. But like if you listen to the media, you would think that like he's not doing shit but throwing interceptions, but they're not talking about the other thing he does. Brett Favre he's a gunslinger, dog. Like when you are responsible for literally 80% of your team's offense, you're going to throw some interceptions. Also, shout out to Dan Orlovsky and the nerds over there at Stats and Info. Shout out to y'all. Hold on. Let me hit the air horns for y'all. It's not playing, but whatever. There it is.
There it is.
No, never mind. Yeah, that too. The GOAT. Yeah, Josh Allen is the GOAT. Did you know out of his 16 interceptions, Stats and Info did the super nerdy, like how many were really Josh Allen's fault? Only they said 11 of his interceptions aren't his fault. So, I mean, they were trying to prove that he's the most unlucky quarterback in the league. I mean, at the end of the day, those interceptions are tagged to him. I get it, but
I'll send those stat corrections to my fantasy league as being like, these ones are not his fault, so I need those points back. Yeah.
I guarantee you he's your top fantasy point getter too. So
he 100% is. He 1,000% is. Yeah.
Listen, Josh Allen's the gift and the curse. I'm not going to pretend he's not, but I hate when people keep talking about his interceptions when he's never led the league in interceptions, and he's never, he always leads the league.
Terrible graphic. Terrible guy. I don't know who released that graphic saying that he was top in intersections for like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But they were trolling, man, because everyone believed it. Everyone instantly believed it because they wanted to believe it.